Well, hello everyone. You're probably thinking, where the hell is he now? Well, those of you that have seen my videos from last year, and there's a very angry bird in the tree next to me. He doesn't like me being near his nest. Yeah, those of you who saw my videos last year will remember me mentioning that I wanted to do a project, and I've sort of titled it The Bridges on the Three Rivers of Rye. I may not get this done all this year because it's very weather dependent, and there is some quite large travelling distance involved, but the aim is over the course of this summer, and if necessary next summer, I'm going to have a look at the rivers Rother, Tillingham and Brede. Get as far upstream as I can to the first navigable row bridge, a beach river, and then work my way down. Rye will be the very last one, and all three rivers will be combined in Rye for obvious reasons. Not much point in going to Rye every time I want to do a river when I can do all three in one go. But I'm actually starting here, and this is the River Dudwell. It's not the Rother at all. Though it is the Rother that I'm actually going to start today. I'm merely here just to say that this is the Dudwell Valley, and it's one side of the Wealden Ridge, on the top of which sits Burwash, or Burwash if you insist. And that has connections with the iron industry. There was a big iron forge down at Burwash Weald. And therefore there are some quite large houses round here. And the River Rother is on the other side of the ridge. But I'm actually going to go down this little road here. You hear that pheasant in the distance? Cockerel waking up. I'm going to go down this road here because, talking of the big houses for the iron industry, there's one that I want to show you now before we seriously get going. Now, I just come across that little lane, surprisingly narrow. I'm thinking to myself, I used to drive coaches along there. But this is the building we've come to see. And as I walk along, I think the eagle-eyed of you will spot where actually I am. I'll keep the chimneys in view above the hedge. Lost the view for the moment. But there's no way you can come to Burwash without at least having a look at Bateman's. This was a manor house built for one of the iron masters back in the 16th century, 17th century, thereabouts. More famous to us as Bateman's, home of Rudyard Kipling and the inspiration for his film, his book, Puck of Pook's Hill. I have to get that right. It is 5:30 in the morning. But I'm moving over here because of this magnificent tree. Look at it. That has really got some age to it, hasn't it? Absolutely wonderful. I'll just pan back so you can see it. I say in all its splendour. I can't get far enough away to get it all in, but look at that. Anyway, I digress. Let's start again. Ruddling Kipyard, as we like to jokingly call his name, wrote Puck of Pook's Hill while he was living here, amongst other of his works, and this is where he died in 1936. It's now, I think, a National Trust property, and you can come and visit. Just a quick look through the railings. There's a dovecote at the top there. I'll just zoom in so you can have a look. There it is. I'm getting better at this zoom, aren't I? There. And that is Bateman's. Now on to Burwash. We still haven't got to the River Rother yet. And here is the old boy himself, sitting on a bench in Burwash. He's probably just been down to the Bell or the Bear and had a pint or two. They're just sobering up before his walk home. This is a conservation area now, and as I just pan down the main street, you'll see what a lovely place it is. All the way down there. Lots of lovely white weatherboarded houses, typical of the Kent-Sussex border. The obligatory cars. Really is very nice indeed. As I pan around here, and we'll take a walk just up the road a bit. Don't like to talk too loudly. So it's not even 6 o'clock yet on a Sunday morning. No, I don't want to wake people up. Look at that building over there. That's got some age to it, hasn't it? Look at that. Oak Beam Cottage it's called, and you can see why. I say a lot of these buildings would have been put up as homes for the iron masters, and I suppose in some cases their workers, but it was a terrible road, highwaymen all over the place, and strong connections with smuggling, especially the Hawkhurst gang, I would guess, because it's only just down the road. And apparently there's some smugglers are buried in the churchyard here at St Bartholomew's, which I find rather unusual. You wouldn't have expected criminals to be buried there, but there's a quick look back over the Dubwell Valley, back up towards Woods Corner. There's the bell. That's probably where. Ooh. And that is the bell of St Bartholomew's Church, which is telling us that it's 6:15 on Sunday morning, the 30th of May 2021. I'm just going to have a very reverent, quiet walk round, you see. Unusual shape to some of these. 1868, that grave there. There's some really old ones. It's a lovely church, this. very trusting with the doors open. Maybe the main door will be locked. I'm not going to go in there to find out, because at this time of the morning I think not only is that very bad form, but might invite unwanted attention. But look at all these gravestones here. I mean, you wonder which ones are the smugglers. I'm looking at this cross here. Doesn't appear to be iron, appears to be wooden, but there is ironwork on a lot of graves in churchyards around here, iron slabs, etc, etc, from the iron industry. The Romans had an iron industry here, and it's largely died out for a while after the Saxons arrived. I think they brought their own methods of ironwork, and over time it lapsed. And then in the 16th, 17th and 18th centuries it had a resurgence, and the Sussex ironworks were, well, they were renowned for the quality of their products. I'm getting a bit too far out the way here, but just trying to see the date. 1840. Oh. I don't think I should dwell too much in here, but anyway, I just wanted you to see this lovely church. What a prominent position. You can imagine the bells ringing and calling people to worship, but look at these lovely properties here. And then there's that one. Lovely. Well, I guess I'd better get back to the job in hand and head down to the first of my bridges. Yes, definitely. I'll see if we can get a view of the side of the church. Oh, look at this. Good morning, tree. I hope you're continuing to be very well. You certainly look very healthy. And it's a pleasure to meet you. There. Can't quite get all of it in up to the top of the tower, but look at the side there, that's very nice. And it's probably built with local ironstone, which would be the natural choice. Something I had to show you before I go down to the bridge. I came up here to turn round. I know there's a level crossing up here, but as I come round the corner, these buildings look almost like railway buildings, don't they? It's actually, I think it's, yes, it's the water treatment works, but as you come round the corner, you could almost be forgiven for thinking that there's a station here, but of course there isn't. Stonegate's quite a way away, but yeah, interesting. Well, here we are. This is the first road bridge over the River Rother. Not much to look at here, is it? There's also, you'll notice that in the corners there, the water tends to be a bit orange, or the earth underneath it is a bit orange. This is ironstone country, and that's why the little rivers are the colour they are. But all of these little tributaries around here, several of them would obviously have been dammed up, and that's really the only clue you've got as to the iron industry now, is the old hammer ponds that are still about, and water would have flown from them through the water wheels to power the ironworks, and then eventually into the Rother and out to sea. It was mainly bar iron made here, and then in the days when we needed a mighty navy, when bar iron became impossible to make because you couldn't get the price on the London markets, they turned to making cannon, and that was fine until after the 100 Years' War in about 1770, something like that. I'm sure it's 1670, 1770. I'll have to look it up and confirm that for you. But anyway, it was definitely after the 100 Years' War, and you suddenly found the imports of iron, and also from the new coke-fired furnaces up in the north of England, it meant that the Sussex people couldn't get the price. And so that was it. End of the iron industry. Do you know, it almost looks as something has gone along here and widened this bit. Because you see the banks look very, very sculpted, don't they? But this is the first stretch of the River Rother that I can find that's actually named Rother. And considering it runs for 35 miles, I don't know how far inland we are here. We're about 20, 25, 27, something like that. But of course it does twist and turn and it goes further north, so there we go. But anyway, that's the first bridge on the River Rother. Nothing very exciting here, as I say, except to tell you about the iron industry and how they used the natural resources. The only other comment I've got to make is, I've said to you before in I think on my documentary in Alfriston, that the local people used to wreck ships to recover timber, which they considered that the kings of England had stolen from them to make their warships. Well, it wasn't the only reason the forest got denuded. The iron industry needed lots and lots of wood for the furnaces, and so probably half, or even more than half, was lost to the iron industry rather than the ships. But there you go. Onwards we move. I'm actually going to cover two bridges in one here, but this lovely white picket fencing here. Now, underneath here is supposed to be the River Rother, which doesn't look very much there, does it? It's all filled in with, it's a total contrast to what we saw at the other bridge, but according to the map, that's the River Rother, although there's another bridge further up which I'm not going to go to, that's a new bridge. Oh, did you hear that, pheasant? And I'm wondering if they have made a new cut and diverted the main stream, because this looks Looks rather stagnant, doesn't it? Although it's quite wide, but look at all the... See over there in front. Did you hear that? That was a cuckoo. It's trying to find the water. There it is. That, yeah, smells a bit stagnant too. And I think I just heard a woodpecker. Ooh. That's a bird call I don't know. Isn't it lovely? I wish this clag would clear, though I think it'll probably be sunny later. Now, I'm at this next bridge here, and I'm looking along a stretch of water, although again it's not moving. But you see how a channel was clearly made for it down there with these stone abutments. And this particular bit of water is known as the Hammer Dyke. And looking on old maps, it would seem to be that this was the watercourse that came from the dammed up stream a bit further up there at probably the Burwood iron forge, and they would have dammed up one of the tributaries of the Rother and then built obviously a narrower section coming down here, which would have forced the water at high speed through and operated again the water wheel that drove the machinery. And then of course they had to find a way for it to get back to the River Rother. So Hammer Dyke definitely is the clue here, isn't it? And this is what would have took the water back to the River Rother. Just down the road there, as we come to Etchingham Station, and the next bridge, which I'm going to move on to now. But this is quite a lovely quiet backwater. Shame we can't see the things that we can hear singing, but there you go.